So this morning, I was up real early, like I usually am, and I was doing some writing in my journal. And my little guy, Rain, he woke up early too, and he came downstairs, and he didn't even say anything to me. He just kind of came up next to me with his toys. And usually that morning time, it's my time. It's a very sacred time for me. It's kind of where I'm able to go deep within myself, and it's really the lifeblood of my whole life. My morning time is really, really sacred to me. So anyway, my son comes up to me. He doesn't say anything. He comes with his little toys. And so I stop what I'm doing, and I pay attention to him. And we're just kind of playing with his toys. We're doing some ninja fighting with his little men, which he loves. He absolutely loves that. Like if there's any way that I can show my son Rain that I love him, it's to play with his little guys with him. And really that's what he wanted. And it just I was staring at him, just looking at him and saying, wow, like just thinking how blessed and how grateful I am to have such an amazing little man. And I wanted to share something with you guys, because I know all of us kind of get caught up with just the everyday routine of life, waking up, making breakfast, getting our kids dressed and sending them to school, driving them to school, getting ready to go to work. And we go through all this stuff, and we have all of this pressure on us to be a good parent. And I just want to say this, right? Because I really been feeling this lately. Even, for myself as a dad, there is nothing more important than maintaining the connection that we have with our children. There's nothing more important than that. For me, I get caught up with wanting to teach them, and having to constantly tell them certain things, and constantly reinforcing things that I'm trying to show them and things that I'm trying to teach them. Whether it's a simple thing like after you finish eating, taking your plate, bringing it to the garbage, scraping out whatever food you don't eat, and then putting it in the sink. And I'm constantly reinforcing that. When I see the plate, I'm like, hey, what's going on? How come your plate is not in the sink? And there are some days, and I know we go through this, man, where things are just crazy and the kids are out of control, and there's just so much, and we're trying to teach them, and because of that, sometimes there's this wedge that gets into our relationship, especially if they're doing something over and over again that you're having a hard time with. Like, there's certain things that my older boy, I'm having to teach him over and over again, and it gets frustrating. And because sometimes it's like he does it so much that I'm having to have these really hard conversations with him over and over again, kind of gets in the way of the relationship. But man, I was looking at my boy Rain, and I'm saying to myself, I cannot sacrifice the connection that we have for anything. Not even to be a good dad and to try to teach my sons, the ways of being a man, and trying to teach them maybe some things that I never got, or whatever it may be, my ways or my philosophy of parenting and how I see the world. And there is nothing more important, listen to me, there is nothing more important than the connection, the bond that you have with your children. Don't let anything get in the way of that connection, no matter what it is. No matter what it is. And I'm sure there are certain things, your family dynamic is different than mine. There are certain things that come up, and we're going through all this stuff. Don't let anything get in the way of that connection. Don't let anything cause a wedge between that connection, because I'll tell you this, as they grow, and I don't know how old your children are, my children are young right now, but I know as they grow, that connection is going to be really, really important. More important than what we taught them, or any skill that we could have taught them, a physical skill, or anything like that. It's that connection that I personally believe is going to cause your child and my children to be whole. Because that connection, it speaks of love. That connection speaks of, safety. I had a coaching conversation today, and I was talking to this person. We were talking about addiction. And, addiction is really, so people use addiction to hide because they feel like the world is not safe. They feel like their world is not safe. So people use addiction they hide out in addiction. And I was talking to this person, and I was saying, you know what, addiction will save your life until God's grace can show up in your life and change it. We hide in those things. We hide out in addiction. And because we feel like the world is not safe, people feel like their world is not safe. I mean, the countless amount of people that are going through stuff right now, it's mind-boggling. I mean, I see it all around me. I have conversations with people on a daily basis of just the hardship and the trauma and the hurts and the pains. And, for some people, just to get out of bed in the morning, it's so challenging for them to do that. When we lose the connection with our children, what safety do they have? Do they really feel safe in this world? When we sacrifice the connection that we have with our children in the name of fill in the blank, whatever it is you think needs to take place, when we sacrifice the connection with our children for whatever that is, we're allowing there to be an opening in our kids' lives for feeling unsafe, for feeling a lack of love. Because at the end of the day, our love relationship, our unconditional love toward our children, that's really all that matters, right? And so, anyway, I just wanted to share that with you. Don't allow anything to get in the way of that connection that you have with your children.